Well, greetings. My name is Amy Hanson, and I live in Omaha, Nebraska with my husband and our family. And I'm thrilled to be with you today to be able to talk just a little bit about my life calling, my passion, which is to wake up the church to the incredible ministry opportunity that lies resident within those that are in the middle and later years of life. Perhaps you've heard some of these statistics before, but I'd like you to let them just kind of fall fresh on you today. Americans 65 and older are the fastest growing segment of the population. Every 7 seconds, someone is turning 60 years old. And there are 78 million baby boomers in America today, with a high concentration of them being in the 5th and 6th decades of their lives. In fact, in 2009, the oldest baby boomer is 63 years old. And you know, even with those statistics, as I travel around the country, as I talk with church leaders and pastors, I'm finding that this area of ministry just really isn't on the radar screen of very many ministry leaders. And there's a number of reasons for that, but one reason is because we have a rather narrow focus when it comes to what older adult ministry is. Sometimes I'll be at a gathering somewhere and people will hear I work in older adult ministry and they'll say, oh, you know, I used to volunteer in a nursing home once. And it kind of makes me laugh because I think, you know, it shows where our minds go when we think about older adult ministry. Certainly there is a slice, there is a segment of ministry that involves the frail elderly, those that are often marginalized by society, those that have physical health needs. There is also a group of people that are maybe 70 or 75 to 85 years old. And, you know, the stereotype is that ministry to them involves bus trips to Branson and potluck luncheons. Many senior adult ministries in churches have been built for this particular generation, the builder generation. And it's been effective in some cases, helping to get those people involved with one another and in serving other people and growing in their relationship with God. But there's also a third group now, a large group that we need to be considering. It's those that are 50 or 55 in age, all the way up to 65 or 70. It's people that are aging baby boomers and also those a little bit older than boomers. We might call them pre-boomers. They're considering retirement, or maybe they already have retired. They may be caring for aging parents. They maybe are taking an active role in the lives of their grandchildren. And one of the things that research is revealing about this particular group, both inside and outside the church, is they resist anything that resembles being old. They do not want to fit into the existing older adult ministry, and that's never going to work. And so we need to be considering and creating innovative ministries for this particular age group. That's such a large number of people. Ministries that will help unleash them to make a difference in our world. And so I'd like for you in the moments we have remaining to consider 3 things with me. Maybe reflect on these, discuss them with your staff, with other leaders, because this is just something that's too big. It's too momentous for us to ignore. The first thing is we have to grasp when we consider this new generation of older adults that these are people that represent a huge network of kingdom laborers. They're people that have wisdom, they have experience, they have discretionary time, and they have a lot of abilities to be able to invest in something very significant. Even the secular research is showing that people are reporting that as they retire from their career, they're choosing to enter, some of them, second careers where they make a lot less money, but they're making a difference for the community. Others are saying that they want to volunteer. In fact, there was a gentleman at a church who said, you know, I'm retiring, I'd like to give my time to the church and its efforts, but I'd really like to do more than be an usher. Sometimes we have allowed ourselves to think that, you know, the older generation wants to slow down, and so therefore they're the ones to, you know, staple the church bulletin or fold the church newsletter. But we've got to expand the possibilities for these folks. These are people who have an entrepreneurial spirit. They're leaders. They have discretionary time. They could be unpaid staff members on your church staff. They can spend significant time overseas on a mission project. They can head up, a group that's going to stamp out homelessness in your community. They can mentor disadvantaged young people. The list goes on and on if we will expand our thinking about how these people could potentially spend their retirement years. A second reason we just cannot afford to ignore this generation of people is that many of them do not have a relationship with Christ. They're lost. Just because someone is older does not mean they automatically are people of faith. And, we've thrown around statistics like this one, that 64% of Americans who accept Jesus do so before their 18th birthday. And we've used that to justify why we invest so much in children's ministry and youth ministry. Certainly those are noble and important things for us to be doing. But I have to wonder, if we put that same amount of money and energy and time and staff and strategy into reaching people that are 50 and 60 and 70 years old for Christ, would we not see a great harvest happening? Those are people that are dealing with all kinds of change and transition, from working to being retired. Maybe they're dealing with physical health issues or losses in their own life. And it's during periods of crisis like that that people are receptive to matters of faith. And then the third reason why we cannot afford to ignore this ministry right now is that the church has the opportunity to influence culture right now at this moment in time. We can rewrite what it means to be older in our communities and in our world. We've become a very youth-obsessed culture, and we glorify youth and kind of put down the later years of life. But this isn't biblical. And the church can be an example that shows that we value everybody of every age. We can set up examples of people in our churches who are living selfless lives, giving themselves to other people. We can show examples from Scripture like Caleb in Joshua chapter 14, who was old but got to move into the promised land that God had promised him. Examples like Anna and Simeon in Luke chapter 2, who prophesied and taught and then got to hold the baby Christ child in their arms. The stakes are too high. It's something that we just cannot afford to ignore. A few years ago, I was in Boise, Idaho, and I was helping a church out there in their older adult ministry, and I met a really neat retired man. He was involved serving in so many ways, and I asked him how he got to be that way, and he told me that he used to sing a song with his granddaughter that went like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all good girls go to heaven. When they get there, they will say, we love Jesus every day. And then he said he heard her one time singing it, and she said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all good grandpas go to heaven. When they get there, they will say, golf, golf, golf every day. I laughed, and then he looked me straight in the face, and he said to me, Amy, I saw right then the kind of legacy I was leaving, and it wasn't the legacy I wanted to leave. And so I began to adjust how I spent my time. I began to change my priorities. I started picking up my grandsons after school, and they liked to play tennis, so we would play tennis together. And on the way there and on the way home, we'd have significant conversations about real life issues. And that led to me getting more involved in my church and serving in my community. And as I reflected on this man and his life, I thought, isn't that what we want? We want to help people finish well. We want to help people live lives that are completely focused on Christ right up until the very end of their lives. We want them to live lives in retirement that are not just lives of leisure, but are lives that are making a significant, meaningful, purposeful impact for Christ. I hope you'll consider what your church can do in this area. Thanks so much for your time today. Blessings to each and every one of you.